So in last week's video, I did a part 1 of the thing that is stopping you from saving your first 10k, and I wanted to do a part 2 because I have more to say on this topic. So if you want to watch part 1, I'll make sure it's linked in the description below for you. But for part 2, I realized that one of the things that is probably stopping you from saving your first 10k is the fact that you think that you have to keep saying no to every single person. So I'll use the same example as I did in part 1, but essentially I was working with a client and we were just looking at her budget, and I just asked her, you know, how do you plan on spending your money this month, as I usually do? And she told me that she doesn't plan on spending any money, she just wants to save it all. And I knew that that wasn't going to happen, but she believed that she wasn't going to spend a dime. So fast forward to the end of the month, when we then started looking at how she spent her money, I asked her, how did it go this month? And she said, I completely ended up overspending. I didn't save any money at all. Now in part 1, I explained that one of the biggest things that stops you from saving your first 10k is you thinking that you're not going to spend any money. So make sure you do check out part 1 if you haven't already. But in this video, I actually want to touch on the fact that you thinking that you have to say no to everyone actually is stopping you from saving your 10k. So in her scenario, what happened is that during the month she told herself she wasn't going to spend any money. However, her colleagues wanted to go out with her. They asked her if she wants to go out for lunch. They asked her if she wants to go out for drinks after work. But at the beginning of the month, what happened is that she kept telling herself, I'm just going to say no to everyone. I'm not going to go out. I'm just going to sit at home and then I'll just save all of this money. But when it came to it, when it actually came to her colleagues asking her, do you want to go out for lunch? Do you want to go out for drinks after work? Because she is a people pleaser, she felt really bad about saying no. And so she ended up saying yes to everything, even though she knew that she should have quote unquote said no. And because she then ended up again saying yes, she spent the money, she felt bad, and then because she'd already spent the money, she gave up and ended up spending even more. Whereas what she should have done is she should have been thinking about making alternatives. And when I'm talking about alternatives, what I essentially mean is you want to think about doing something different rather than completely saying no. Because if you are a people pleaser, it is very difficult for you to say no. I know, because I am also a people pleaser too, okay? So what I have learned is that you want to think about alternatives instead. So for example, if your colleague is asking you, do you want to go out for lunch? Even though you may say yes, what you might do is instead of buying a full-blown meal, you may decide, yeah, I'm happy to go out for lunch, but I think I just want a coffee instead, because that means that you won't end up spending as much money, even though you're still going out with them. Or potentially, if your friends are asking to see you because they haven't seen you in a while, instead of feeling the pressure to quickly see them as soon as possible, what you could do is actually suggest a date. You could say, I would love to catch up with you. How about we catch up on the 10th of March or on the 6th of June? Because what that will do is you will have that date in mind, and then you can simply plan for that in advance. You can actually prepare for that, knowing that you're going to spend that money. And again, it means that you don't have to say no to your friend. And there are so many creative things that you can do when you consider alternatives that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to say no to your colleague or your friend. And when you do that, it obviously means that you don't overspend, and when you don't overspend, then you are more likely to get closer to that 10k savings goal. Now again, if you realize that you really want to save 10k this year, but you need my help with this, it's something that you've tried to do in the past but it hasn't worked, then make sure you do book a call with me to find out more about one-on-one coaching, where I can help you save your first 5k in less than 6 months. Because if you're able to save 5k in 6 months, you can of course then save 10k in 12 months. So make sure you do book a free call with me if you want to find out more. The link will be up here and in the description below. But I do hope that was useful, again, especially if you are a people pleaser, because let's be honest, it's not going to be cured overnight. So instead of trying to completely say no and it not working, how about we just start thinking about alternatives instead? So if you did like this video, please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and you can also subscribe to my channel if you do like the content. I do post every Sunday now. But yeah, I will see you next week with another video. Bye.